On the 22nd of September 1966, the capital of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, awoke full of sunshine and happiness in expectation of the President of the United Arab Republic, Gamal Abdel Nasser. Exactly at 3 o'clock, a United Arab Airways jet plane arrived, carrying the distinguished guest and his suite on a 6-day state visit to Tanzania. President Julius Nyerere, accompanied by the 2 vice presidents and other distinguished personages, walked towards the silver bird which bore the honored guest from Cairo. Serene and smiling, President Nasser disembarked from the plane. At the foot of the steps, the 2 presidents, who rank as the 2 most prominent African statesmen, warmly embraced. President Nasser then met the first vice president, Sheikh Abid Karume, and the second vice president, Mr. Rashid Kawawa. In the meantime, Mwalimu welcomed the members of President Nasser's suite. After the cordial welcome, the 2 statesmen climbed the saluting dais and stood at attention while the national anthems were played. President Nasser, accompanied by President Nyerere, then inspected a guard of honor mounted by 100 men of the Tanzania People's Defense Forces. Before leaving the airport, President Nasser was introduced to members of the Tanzanian government, the diplomatic corps, and the town elders. All along the 9-mile route of the State House, the streets were filled with people who enthusiastically greeted the distinguished guests from Cairo and their president as they drove past in an open Rolls-Royce at the head of the motorcade of 200 cars. At the east gate of the State House, the 2 statesmen left their car and walked the remaining 100 yards, to shouts of Nyerere Nasser by numerous dancers who, waving small Tanzanian and Egyptian flags, filled the garden of the State House. In front of the house, the honored guest was welcomed by Ms. Maria Nyerere, President Nyerere's mother, and one of his sons. The honored guests and their hosts then remained a few moments in the pleasant coolness of the veranda, while in front of the building, Ngomas and the Muungano Orchestra performed a program of welcome. The same evening, in the gaily decorated Diamond Jubilee Hall, some 500 guests attended a state banquet given by President Nyerere in honor of the Egyptian leader. In his toast, President Nyerere said he was welcoming on behalf of his country a great socialist and a great revolutionary, in the true sense of the word, as President Nasser had transformed the life of the people in his country. After speaking about the ancient past of Egypt and praising the progress this country had made since independence, President Nyerere concluded, "I can also state with assurance that in the different ways appropriate to our different circumstances, Tanzania will be pursuing the same goal as the UAR, that is, the socialist development of our nation in freedom. And in this context, we look towards a day in which our 2 countries can become part of one united continent." In his reply, President Nasser said, "I carry with me the warm greetings of the Egyptian, Arab, African people, their admiration for your uninterrupted struggle, their faith in your success, and their full and sincere readiness for cooperation with you in all domains and without reservations, filled with faith in the brotherhood of struggle and unity of hope. Struggle and hope for the sake of our 2 peoples, our continent and our world, which today faces great perils that call for the concerted efforts of all believers in peace based on justice." Early next morning, President Nyerere and President Nasser, accompanied by their closest aides, met in the cabinet chamber of the State House. In an atmosphere of sincere friendship and mutual understanding, the two countries' representatives had official talks during which they discussed important questions of interest to the two countries and to the continent and exchanged views on international situations. The talks lasted more than 2 hours. In the afternoon, the two presidents visited the TANU headquarters. Lumumba Street was packed with people who gathered around the TANU building to see and greet the guests from the friendly UAR. President Nasser greeted the TANU cell leaders who waited for him in front of the building. On the dais at the entrance to the building, a TANU elder handed the distinguished guest a zebra skin drum, Maasai spear and shield, and the black ebony carving of an elephant. Before leaving the TANU headquarters for the University College, President Nasser went to the roof to see the panorama of Dar es Salaam. On arrival at Dar es Salaam University College, the distinguished guests were greeted by the Principal, Dr. Chabula, and Vice Principal, Professor Hannibal. During a conversation with the leaders of the university, President Nasser promised an extension of their cooperation between the two countries' universities and invited a college delegation to visit the universities in the United Arab Republic. The same evening at the Karinji Hall, an impressive ceremony was held at which President Nasser was made a freeman of the city of Dar es Salaam. The mayor, Councillor Karundu, delivered a speech in which he explained the reasons for conferring this high honor on the visiting president. After the clerk had read the resolution which the city council had passed earlier in the month, the mayor presented the Egyptian leader with a copy of it. Thanking him for the honor, President Nasser said that Dar es Salaam was a fortress of freedom in East Africa and that Tanzania was playing a great role in helping non-liberated countries to achieve their freedom. At the end of this warm and touching ceremony, the participants went out into the spacious gardens of the Karinji Hall and joined the many guests at a gala reception held by the City Council in honor of the visitors from the UAR. In addition to the foreign guests and the most distinguished personages of Tanzania, the reception was attended by the diplomatic corps and a great number of citizens. On the third day of his stay in Tanzania, President Nasser, accompanied by Vice President Rashidi Kawawa, left for Zanzibar. At the airport, the honored guest was met by the first Vice President, Sheikh Abid Karume. President Nasser then inspected a guard of honor mounted by 200 men of the Tanzania People's Defense Forces. After the two statesmen returned to the saluting days, there was a march past by the soldiers, members of the People's Volunteers, and the young pioneers. The way from the airport to the city was another proof of love and esteem which the citizens of Tanzania feel towards their eminent guest. A meeting was held in the municipal gardens, where over 7,000 islanders welcomed President Nasser, chanting enthusiastically, "Kaja Kaja, he has come." Sheikh Karume first mounted the stand, and after welcoming the president, he outlined the history of Zanzibar and explained why the revolution was necessary. In his reply, President Nasser said that the UAR had always supported those who fought for their freedom, and that the Egyptian people follow with sympathy the struggle of Zanzibar.